Bear with me. There's an ant on our screen.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of it. I tried to get it a moment ago.
It might be dead, it might not be. Who's to say?
I can already tell that that's going to be this bit at the start.
Might be dead, might not be.
Hello and welcome to Good for a Change. This is a podcast where we aim to combat the awful everyday news you hear with stories that will make you put things on top of each other. Nope, stories that will make you pile, that is. Sorry about that. My name is Jarrod and with me is Hollie.
Hello, Hollie.
And also with me is Sean.
Hello.
I thought of that about 10 seconds before we started recording.
Oof, loved it. It was as good as simile.
I don't know you did. How are we, gang?
We're great.
I mean, the sad part is that we're not in a room together
Why
again.
not? It was nice while it lasted.
It was, and now I can't pinch you. So, Hollie, can you please pinch Sean for me?
Yeah, I've done it.
Ow!
Oh, that was good acting, Sean. I almost believed it for a second then. All right, let's get into some good news.
Bring it on.
Oh, all right, I will. I am bringing it on with my story. Last week we had a bit of a chatter with Heidi Blickenstaff about our favourite types of rides.
Mm-hmm.
And as you guys know, I'm partial to a roller coaster.
Yes.
I'm not as partial as a teenager named Ben Tolliday. Tolliday, not holiday, Tolliday. In Georgia in the US, who was so bored during the pandemic lockdown that he decided to build a roller coaster in his backyard.
Yes.
Stop it, he didn't.
Yes.
He did.
Loving this already.
He's like, what else am I going to do with my time? Oh, I could focus on some schoolwork. Oh, I could learn a new hobby. My hobby's going to be building roller coasters in my backyard.
Same.
So for about 3 weeks, Ben watched a bunch of building tutorials. I don't think he'd had any building experience before this, mind you. And constructed the coaster using wood, PVC pipes, cinder blocks, and sandbags. I can't quite tell what the chair that he sits in is made out of, like the car.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost looks like it's one of those like racing arcade game seats.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I don't know where he got one of them from. But hey, this guy probably made it. Let's be honest.
Classic Ben.
The ride drops him from a second-story veranda.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is how he gets his launch.
Oof.
And shoots him, and he goes, like, he drops. It's a significant drop. And then they shoot him across the backyard at a pretty fast pace. And then there's an incline at the end with, like, a bouncy thing on it, just so he can, like, hit it and come back down nicely to a nice stop.
Nice.
He was apparently terrified the first time he tried it.
Obviously. Especially if he'd not built
As
before.
you would be. Yeah, but he's like, well, I figure I know what's in it. I know it's sturdy. Let's give it a go, I guess. But it held together perfectly. And the person who's ridden it the most is his mother.
Oh.
His mum is like well on board with it. Oh, I say she's on board with it. While she's very impressed, she's also told him it needs to be taken down because her plans underneath are dying.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So she's like, this is great, and I'm very impressed and very proud of you. My tulips need a bit of love. So Ben is starting college this year, but I don't know what he was originally going to be studying, but he's now looking at engineering courses because he's like, maybe I want to build roller coasters with my life.
Fair enough. I think that's a very worthy goal to have.
100%. Let's build some roller coasters. The more coasters, the better.
Surely that adds value to the home. Ben's mum needs to know
You would
that
think so.
she's losing money by making him take that down.
Well, that's it. Because, like, if you were to go look at a house and they were like, okay, this is the upstairs. This is a nice veranda. Here's the roller coaster. Over here we have the double garage. You'd be like, sorry, can we
These are the dead tulips.
Yeah, these are dead tulips. But can we just back up a bit? Sorry, did you say double garage? I want a house with a roller coaster. I haven't got a backyard big enough for a roller coaster. Sean, I feel like your parents' house, they have a massive backyard. Do you think we can build a coaster in there? Because they've also got a second-story veranda.
They do, so that would give us the height we would need to put it in there. I remember as a child, we wanted a pool. My sister and I wanted a pool. And we definitely, this was in the early days of us having a house. And I'm pretty sure, went out with some shovels and started to dig around in what is now a garden, but what was then was probably just like a mud pit, to see if we could make our own pool. Much like that guy on YouTube who's in the jungle and he makes pools out of like nothing. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
we never
Yeah.
achieved anything. There was never a pool.
Is that how you guys got the lake?
No, that predates. We weren't allowed to swim in the lake. That's why we wanted a pool.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so you didn't get your... Did you ever have like a above ground pool or anything?
We had an above ground pool.
Yeah, we used to get like the little kiddie pools. That was probably about the best that we ever got.
I love a little kiddie pool. But Holly, was it not freezing cold in England in an above ground pool?
Yeah, one time it froze over, and then we walked on it like it was an ice rink. It was massive. It was like, I don't know if I'm I don't think I am. I think it was like 10 foot round.
Yes, but you were a lot shorter then, so it probably looked a lot bigger.
Yeah, no, it was like a good size. It wasn't like Olympic length or anything. But
I've seen those ice skating on top of the pool pictures, and it is like it's all of your family on the pool,
yeah.
isn't it? So it's definitely big enough to sustain a large ice skating rink.
Wow, I think that's what we need to be doing next if we're going to get roller coasters. Although we don't live anywhere near where it's cold enough to get a frozen over pool, do we?
no,
No.
I'd much prefer a swimming pool.
I'd much prefer the roller coaster, if I'm honest. But like, I was watching this, and obviously there would be a lot of legalities and stuff to it.
Yeah.
But I think there should be a company that like sell home roller coasters.
I just saw the other day. There's like I think it might be Fisher Price has this like how they do the little the little cars, those little buggy plastic, very thick plastic red and yellow car things that every kid loves.
Yeah.
They're now doing like a kiddie coaster, and it comes in multiple parts, and it's just like plastic slide material, I guess, and it goes womp 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 kind of thing.
Oh
That's
yes, it's very gentle
audio
yeah.
description of what it looks like. Womp womp womp. And you have this little car that runs along it from a slight height, probably no higher than maybe my knee, and then it goes from there. So I guess someone's starting.
So I guess they're sort of starting it, but I just thought it'd be a great idea for like a company to we go around to your house and we look at it and go, all right, we can spend 2 weeks, we'll build your coaster, and off we go to the next place. And I'm just upset now that doesn't exist. So I'm happy to say that I'm starting the company.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So we obviously rode roller coasters last week.
Yes.
What do you two look for in a roller coaster? What is it that you like in a roller coaster?
Support and
Not dying.
Safety, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, but what is it like? Because we've all ridden roller coasters where like you ride one, it's fine, and then you ride another one and it's amazing. Like something like the like we were obviously at Movie World on the Gold Coast last week, and there's the new Hypervillain coaster, which shoots you up and it's really fast and spins you around. Then you've got something like their Green Lantern coaster, which is a lot slower to move, and it's sort of more of a Mad Mousey type thing. Now, we're not big lovers of a Mad Mouse. I think we actually spoke about that last week. So then, alright, then let me ask you this. What's your favourite part of a coaster?
I think what I'm looking for, and that's why I think the Villains coaster was probably one of my favourite ones at Movie World, and probably why I like California Screamin', or now it's the Incredicoaster at California Adventure. I like the duration of it.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And we discussed this while
Yeah.
we were waiting in line for that Villains coaster, like how long is too long on a roller coaster, and how short is too short on a roller coaster. And I like something that can sustain enjoyment for quite a period of time. And I think both those coasters that I just said do that very well, in the sense of they go on for quite a while, but they offer enough difference, I guess.
Whereas
Yep.
when we went to Alton Towers, all of the rides were, this is the first ride in the world that did this. But that's all the ride would do. So it would go like, this is the first ride in the world to do like a 90-degree drop.
Yep.
This is the first ride. And it's like, okay, but what else?
But what else are we doing? Like, because that's usually really quickly. Like, all right, I did the drop now. Now I'm just like kind of on a slow roller coaster.
Yeah, we waited an hour for the 90-degree drop one. It was called like Black Hole, and we waited so long, and literally you sat on top, and then it hung you over the edge 90 degrees, and then dropped you down into the thing, and then just span around and went back to the front. So yeah, I think duration is definitely one of the key things for me. Especially if I've got to wait a long time for the ride, I want something that's like worth the wait.
Yeah. One thing I really like in a coaster, and like the Superman ride is specifically good for this, is I don't like when you go up the climb the lift, and it's really slow.
Yeah.
I hate a coaster that's really slow. Something like Superman shoots you out at 100 kilometers an hour. The Hypervillain coaster that went up quickly.
Yeah, it really did.
That's what I like, because obviously some people say, well, it builds the anticipation when you're going slow. I've been having the anticipation the last hour standing in line. I'm not anxious about the drop. I'm excited for the drop. Let's just get to it.
Yeah.
So I do much prefer a coaster that's right. Let's just get to it. Let's go.
Do something cool.
And is it like, because I feel like the slow ones, when it goes up slow, it like jerks you up as well. It's like tick, 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 tick. And it's like, this isn't comfortable.
No, it's not. It's
like
not.
I want the discomfort to be in the thrill and not in the comfort of
mechanism.
the ride.
So in addition to roller coasters, another thing I like and have liked for many, many years, as I'm sure both of you have as well, is chocolate.
It feels fake, but yes.
Yes. Ooh, love it.
And this weekend, when you listen to the episode, if you're listening live, it'll have been just past, and we're recording just on the cusp of, is Easter. And so this is a lovely, relevant story on that front, because this is a story about chocolate, Easter chocolate specifically, that has been found in an attic in the UK. This chocolate...
Yum.
How old are we talking?
121 years old.
Yummy.
Ooh, I think it's past its use by date.
It is definitely. There was some still in it, and it was definitely past its use by date. But this chocolate was commissioned by Queen Victoria for soldiers that were serving over in the Boer War back in the day. And this tin of chocolate was discovered in a helmet from a uniform in the attic of this old property, this really historic property in the UK. It's a National Trust property. Mm-hmm. And they discovered in this helmet, as they were cleaning out some belongings, because I think one of the family members had recently passed away, so they were going through some belongings. They found this helmet, and in this helmet was this tin. And sure enough, beautiful picture of Queen Victoria on the top of it. Open it up. Ew, yuck, this chocolate is off. But yeah, 121-year-old chocolate that was made to boost the morale of soldiers back at Easter 121 years ago. How about that?
Do you have to keep that? Like, what's the historic... What's your obligation as a historian?
I feel like with that, do you know what? Nowadays, yeah, you'd probably have to keep the chocolate, wouldn't you? Because, like, if I... Right, let's just say I went to, like, my grandparents' house and I found chocolate from, like, World War II. Right, that was like specifically made for World War II. I am definitely dating my grandfather to be older than he is. He was not in World War II. But like, and there's specific like Winston Churchill chocolate or something like that. I feel like I would like throw the chocolate out. You'd probably keep the wrapper.
Oh yeah.
The tin.
You keep the wrapper or the tin or whatever it is, but you throw the chocolate away.
Maybe there's historic relevance to the chocolate. Maybe the way that the chocolate was made.
It would be interesting.
Do you have to pass that on? Is my question. Like, is it your obligation
to test it and see what was in it? For example, like to work out what the ingredients were 121 years ago. Because we're talking when we're talking that period of time, it's sort of the dawn of the chocolatiers in the UK. It's some of the early chocolate history of the type of chocolate we eat now. So they were made at the time, this specific set of chocolates, and they're not sure which company made it 100%, but it was either going to be Cadbury, Fry's, or Rowntree, which were the three big Quaker chocolate companies at the time that were all developing... making chocolate in the UK. And it would be interesting to see, like, I mean... Cadbury and places probably have these recipes on file, but it would be interesting to see if they tested it, what ingredients they could find in it, and see how that chocolate differed to chocolate today.
Yeah. Would you eat it?
Would I eat 121-year-old chocolate?
Yeah. If it looked alright.
Maybe just... If it looked alright, you'd probably give it a nibble. Although, that depends. Like, did it go like... You know how old chocolate can go a bit white?
Yeah, that's grim.
Has it gone like that little bit white, or is it like... Cause you could probably brush it off, or you'd melt it down and like
pleasant.
You'd dip a strawberry into it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a little, just a little.
Just a little lick. No, I mean modern chocolate definitely has enough preservatives in it to like last a while. Like it's going to be okay. Modern chocolate for a bit after its best before date, but
I feel like I'd give it a taste. I feel like I'd like little nibble just to see,
you know it's not had bugs or anything in there, because, like, if ants or anything had got in, it wouldn't be there anymore.
Exactly right. It wouldn't really be there anymore.
So you know that it's...
So it's been freshly sealed. Exactly
I'm
right.
concerned about both of you.
Sean, you have to get on board. Holly and I are...
No.
No?
This chocolate also went off to war, and I don't know what kind of conditions it was in while it was at war.
There were no bugs in it, Sean.
Also, it came back from war and it wasn't fully eaten. So, like,
true.
why wasn't the chocolate eaten?
Yeah. So there's some questions, because was it like a, oh, I'm going to take that and my wife's going to have some when I get home?
It
Or is
doesn't
that
taste
a,
very nice.
oh, I haven't have to keep this, but Queen Victoria was like, she was probably like, oh, here you go, guys. And they're like,
I'll save this
no,
for a
thanks.
real emergency because it's not my favourite type of chocolate.
It's like, you know when you see people and they find, like, Crystal Pepsi, and then they drink the Crystal Pepsi, and you're like, you are a revolting human.
Yeah, but I feel like I'd do it.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, yeah, just to be like, let's just see what happens. Like, it's not going to kill me. Let's taste it.
Well, it's good to know if the podcast fails, Jarrod, we can transition to a YouTube series of you eating and drinking well-expired
Stop.
food.
I've got a pear that's been in my cupboard for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, well.
If you want to get on that.
Yeah, great. I mean, again, what's the cutoff? Like, was it okay 50 years ago? Who knows?
Who knows?
That's it. That's one of those things we'll just never know.
Well, the property's National Trust, so you can go and see the property. You can, book times to go see the property and walk around it. And it's quite an interesting property. It's like a Tudor-built property that dates back to like the 15th century. It's like a moated
Where is it?
building. It's in England. It's called Oxborough Hall, and it's a lovely example of like Tudor architecture. So I guess they would have various museum collections and pieces of furniture and things on display, because sometimes you can go in these houses as well. It's not just the gardens, but inside as well. So I would say it was probably one of these things that they'll put on display there or somewhere else in the collection. The property was sold to the National Trust in the 50s. It was about to be like knocked down basically because sold off or something, but one of the family members decided to try and sell it off to National Trust. So that's why the property still exists, and that's why we're lucky enough to rediscover the chocolate now. So perhaps when all this wraps up and we can travel again, we can go visit the chocolate in Oxborough Hall when that all opens up again.
Yeah.
Add it to the list of places we need to visit.
I'm gonna try to eat it. You know that, don't you? Like, I'm gonna get arrested.
Little nibble. Yep.
And they're like, yeah, like, you've been deported back to Australia. Why? What did he do? He ate some 121-year-old chocolate. My God.
I think your body would punish you enough.
Oh, yeah, I would all of a sudden, like, develop a lactose intolerance.
Oh. If we're speaking about crimes, my friend,
I'm glad it's not lactose intolerance.
I'm going to say it now. I've got a hero of the podcast.
Ooh. Move over, Tolliday.
And they are, and I don't mean to be dramatic, an attempted criminal.
What?
Oh.
Holly, you can't designate a
I
hero.
don't think
as an
Holly
attempted
knows
criminal.
what the podcast
We
is.
record Bad for a Change on Sundays, Holly.
Criminals for a change, isn't it? My story this week is unsurprisingly about a dog. So my story this week is about a dog called Sisu. You'll recognise the name Sisu because the dog was named after the film Raya and the Last Dragon, which we saw last week.
Hey.
So Sisu is a lab mix, and Sisu was unfortunately living on the streets.
Aww.
And what happened was the dog started going into a Dollar General store in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog went into the Dollar General store 5 times. And the dog went directly to a purple unicorn toy and tried to steal the purple unicorn toy 5 times.
Same.
So the people who worked at the shop were like, this dog's becoming somewhat of a nuisance. So they called the animal control people, and the animal control people came, and they bought the dog the unicorn.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
they did.
I was concerned that there was going to be a separation there and it wasn't going to be a happy ending.
Of course there wasn't going to be a separation.
I was worried that was going to be like what I thought was going to happen, because I just hear Sisu and dog and just think of another Disney film. is that, Sisu was going to get taken away and then escape and find the unicorn, or the unicorn was going to get bought, and Sisu would have to go looking for the unicorn.
And then when it found the unicorn, that would be the dog's new owners.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Someone call Disney.
I'm upset.
Tell them to return the dog. Tell them to return the dog.
Yeah. I'm upset now that this story doesn't end like that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. That's not where it's going.
I like that we've now just taken upon making the good news ourselves.
why
Forget about the real good news.
News,
Let's just make our own good news.
Oh dear.
So Sisu has the unicorn.
So Sisu, the animal control person, bought the unicorn. It was $10, which is big
From a
spender.
Dollar General store.
Yeah, I know, bit much.
Check the policy in that place.
They bought the unicorn and then they posted it onto their Twitter. Mm-hmm. They were like, "Look at this little criminal. He's tried to steal this unicorn toy." And then that went absolutely viral, and they had calls from all over the world. And in a day, the dog was adopted.
Yay!
Yes, good. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, on your Sisu.
So Sisu is going to like a training ranch before they go to their adoption
to get out the kleptomania.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we need to organize this before. No, so he's gone to the. Is it a she? Have I said he a lot of times and it's a girl dog?
Who knows?
Doesn't matter. So they have they've gone to the training ranch now, but their last stop before going to the training ranch was back to the Dollar General to say goodbye to all of the friends in the store.
Oh, that's nice. Were the friends also stuffed animals?
I think it was the staff, but also probably yes.
I'd be keen to know what it was that the dog was living on the streets or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's somehow seen this purple unicorn toy and become fascinated with it. I wonder at what point it
Well, it was beelining.
It decided
for
it was
them.
in love with it. Yeah.
Well, and it was the same one. It was the same. It wasn't like all of the purple unicorn toys. It was one specific purple unicorn toy in the Easter section.
Wow.
That it was going to every time.
But we say what made Sisu obsessed with this. Let's go back to your parents' dog, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
When your parents decided they were getting the dog, your sister and I, we went out and we were looking at dog toys.
Yep.
This is before Lexi was even around.
Yeah.
And while out, I saw this little kiwi toy. And your sister was like, that's amazing. I don't think I bought it then, but she's like, that's great. We'll remember that to there. And then you guys got Lexi, and I went and I bought the squeezy kiwi. How many kiwis are we on at the moment?
5.
We've got to be on at least the 5th kiwi because she is obsessed with them.
We've pre-bought them because we did lose one once.
Yes.
Which was weird because we were in lockdown, so I have no idea where the dog put the kiwi. But she was so sad all day that we were like, "Ooh, this can never happen again." So we pre-bought bulk kiwis so that every time a kiwi broke or went missing or whatever, we were ready for that situation.
And I believe the kiwis.
They stopped selling it.
Well, I was going to say the kiwis aren't sold anymore.
No.
But I went around there recently, and as soon as I walked in, she brought me this kiwi.
Of course
She loves
did.
the kiwi. It's her
And
favorite.
she's got a bunch of other toys,
Millions
She's
of other
spoiled.
toys.
but the kiwi,
It's
she's
the
like
one.
Sisu with a unicorn.
She's exactly like Cece with the unicorn.
When we had Lexi's birthday, which was one of the theme nights that we did a Sunday theme night every night in the lockdown, and one of the theme nights coincided with Lexi's birthday. So we had a birthday party for her. And
Normal, not at all
very
weird.
normal. Didn't make the dog a cake.
She didn't wear a hat, and she didn't love it.
And didn't decorate the table with a tablecloth that was kiwi green and draw kiwis all over it. No, that would be ridiculous.
Normal stuff in lockdown.
And in case you're wondering, we shall post some of the images of Lexi's birthday party onto our Instagram, which you can find at Good for a Change Podcast. It's where we put all the visual elements of the show because it's a weirdly visual audio medium here. But yeah, she loves the kiwis, and we made it her birthday party theme. The natural
I
progression.
think dogs do get like that, don't they?
They get attached.
They're like, this is the one thing that is my thing.
Yeah, I've had dogs for years and years, but I've never had one that's been as attached to a toy as, say, Lexi is with the Kiwi, or that Sisu is with a unicorn. Yeah, my brother's got a dog, and it was obsessed with a little Ernie from Sesame Street toy, and it completely ripped it to shreds. And then my brother had to, I think he contacted me, was like, hey, have you got any Ernie stuff? Because this dog has destroyed his Ernie stuff. And I think I sent him, an old toy I had somewhere. But yeah, none of my dogs have ever been toy dogs, if that makes sense. And so maybe that's why I just find it so amazing that Lexi's obsessed with the Kiwi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tell me, Sean, what is good in your life this week?
Well, this week we went into a vintage toy and retro collectibles store just for a browse, just to have a look around, and a lot of their stuff is pricey, and one of the things I like to do when I'm there is look around and see all the toys I used to have as a child that I sold at garage sales for a pittance that are now selling for large swathes of cash. And I find it very surprising, some of the things that are selling for a lot of money. It's oh, that was something that I probably would not have sold for that kind of... that's a toy that I never would have considered making hundreds of dollars. But, we live and we learn. But something I did find whilst I was there, which I'm very excited about, and Jarrod, I can only assume you will be excited by it as well, but not as excited as I am, because this is multiple levels for me.
Okay, drum roll, please.
But it's this book here, which I will now show the screen. It's called Jim Henson's Muppets at Sea.
Do I have that?
I don't know.
I've got a funny feeling I've got that somewhere.
It is a comic book, which is exciting. It's like the Muppet comics. But what is most exciting about this book, which is not just about Muppets, but if you'll notice very closely, it also features a paddle steamer, which is my favourite form of transport.
Oh my gosh. Our worlds have collided.
We discussed this at... Our worlds have collided. Muppets, paddle steamers, together in possibly the greatest text of all time.
My favourite part about this is that Hollie just yawned.
I didn't yawn, I just spread my mouth like this. Ugh.
Hollie was the one that found it on the shelf, and I was like, oh, look at this nice little book. And it was sitting on the shelf so that it sort of covered half the cover, and I could see that it was a Muppets comic book, and I thought, look at that boat. And then I pulled it out, and my jaw dropped when the paddle wheel on the side of the boat was revealed. And I
just need to do an example of what happens whenever we're anywhere. Oh my gosh, it's a paddle steamer! Every time. Anywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
I find them.
It's relentless.
Paintings,
you
pictures,
you do
books.
find them. You have an uncanny knack to be able to find
It's
them.
my sixth sense.
It really is.
I should say, so I do have that book, but not as is. I think they did in 1980 something, probably when that book came out. An annual, like a Muppets annual. And that comic is part of it, so that's where I've seen it before.
Right.
It's funny that cover photo. Someone, because they did a Muppets adult coloring book a couple of years ago, and that drawing someone redid for it, and it is just awful. I'll see if I can't find a photo, and we'll chuck a comparison up on the Instagram. But half of them, they just couldn't be bothered drawing them correctly, so they're just weird blobs with eyes, and it's who's that meant to be? And you look, it's it's Sam Eagle. But then there's another character right next to them who is drawn in so much detail. So no, I do have that book, and I'm very excited that you have it, and I hope you enjoy it, because I remember getting a lot of enjoyment out of it.
But sorry, we should start talking about Muppets and paddle steamers. Hollie, what's good in your life this week?
It's limes.
It's limes.
It's limes, yeah. So we have a lot of limes in our house, because our friends have a lime tree that they grow limes on. So they gave us, I would say, approximately 25 limes a couple of weeks ago. We got through a few of the limes by making them a lime cake that we then returned to them. But what has happened since then is that there was a bumper crop of limes. And now, much like Easter, there is a lime hunt happening in my house.
Because one of them came to our house the other day and managed to somehow smuggle limes into the house and hide them places, and won't tell us the exact number of how many limes there are.
I said, I found 4 limes, and then they said, do you mean 5 limes? And I was like, no, just 4. And they were like, 4. Where are the limes, Jarrod? They want me to cry. That's what they want.
There was one in the shower.
Yeah, there was. There was one in the shower. There was one in the post box.
Ooh.
There was one...
So does that imply that there's at least one more lime out there? Or are they evil geniuses and have now made you think there's another lime out there, but there's not?
Limes everywhere. And I'll do something delicious with the limes.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Here's the thing. Here's my little evil plan. And I hope this episode comes out after this plan has happened. But my idea is we're talking about having an Easter egg hunt with them. And I'm thinking perhaps we go and get a large egg. Slice it in half, as you can with an Easter egg. Place all the limes inside. Melt it back together. Rewrap the egg. Hide the egg. And then when they open the egg...
Full of limes.
Oh, full of limes again!
I love it. I love it. You have to do that.
Lime pranks.
Or else you can... Lime pranks. Yes.
We're just building our YouTube channel up here now.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to culminate with me eating a lime that was expired in, like... Did limes expire?
A chocolate from 121 years ago?
Yeah, 121 years ago. Well, what you should do is that you go and buy, like, a bunch of Easter eggs, and then you rewrap the limes in the foil.
Easter egg wrappers, yeah.
Easter egg
I
wrappers.
thought the other
That's
thing
what
we
you
could
could
do is juice the limes, put a little hole in the top of one of the Easter eggs, pour the lime juice inside the Easter egg, melt the top up again. Why
Like
does this
a
one
margarita.
sound... What's going on in here? Lime
Margarita.
juice? I don't know, but...
What did you call it?
A margarita.
I thought you were going to call it margarita.
Margarita, what a waste.
There's the episode title right there.
Margarita. Jarrod, apart from not being in my lime house anymore, tell me what is good in your life.
I was sleeping on an airbed. Does that mean it was just filled with limes?
Yes,
Yes.
it wasn't an airbed at all.
It wasn't an airbed, it was a
lime
lime bed. Lime pranks. But that is not what's good in my life. I've refound a TV show.
Ooh.
This TV show isn't particularly old, but I haven't really watched a ton of it until recently when I found a clip on YouTube and I was like, this would be interesting. Let's watch more of this. It's called Adam Ruins Everything.
Okay.
And it's hosted by a guy named Adam Conover. And what he does is he basically takes constructs that people know, like that people are familiar with, or almost like a comedy Mythbusters, and sort of breaks them down and explains why you think one way when actually something else is the truth. Let me explain. I actually wrote down a couple of examples
glad you
just
did.
because I'm doing very poorly at explaining it. So, for example, he did one segment on restaurants and one was on wine experts. And he basically explained how sommeliers are essentially complete frauds.
Oh.
They are... So he talks about... And he has all these studies and he brings on experts. And, like, this one talked about a study where someone got a bunch of sommeliers together, gave them, red wine that was from, like, the south of France, and then another one that was like the $5 drinking wine you get at the gas station. And they're all going, oh my god, this French wine is the most beautiful thing I've ever had, and you can taste the flavors, and oh, this is absolute garbage. I wouldn't serve this to my worst enemy. They're both the same wine. Stuff like that. And then, or he'd do the same sort of thing with another, but switch the bottles.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the expensive stuff is the gas station stuff. Oh, this is absolute garbage. Wouldn't give this to anybody. Again, complete frauds. Stuff like that. Another one he talked about Listerine. And the fact that Listerine, until 1920 around about, was floor cleaner. But then no one was buying it for floor cleaner anymore, so they were like, it's safe to put in your mouth. Let's now say it's mouthwash. And they basically thought...
Just because you can drink it, Jarrod, doesn't mean you should.
Well, I'm not the Listerine guys.
Is that why they tell you not to swallow mouthwash? Because
Probably.
it's just floor cleaner?
Possibly. I'm assuming they've changed a couple of things here and there, but basically the majority of it's the same. And like they pushed to make halitosis worse than it actually is. Like bad breath is bad breath, but it's fixable in a lot of ways. But Listerine were like, we're going to make it seem really bad, and only we can fix it.
Well, that's like, I remember my dentist saying that, like, just gargling salt water, for example, is like as effective as having a shot of Listerine.
The one that I remembered from like watching this, because this show started in 2015.
Right.
I remember seeing this in 2015, but they talked about hydration. All right, and I actually rewatched this one today, and they're talking about that whole like 8 glasses a day.
Yeah.
Like 8 glasses of water a day. That's a total lie.
I'm glad.
That is a
oh
lie.
my gosh, that's a lot.
That is, like they say, you have to drink like 2 liters of water. Complete lie. There is not one scientific study that shows that's actually the case. It's just something someone said 100 years ago, and people just go, oh, okay, I guess that's true. But one thing he talked about, and I now look at this every time I see like a study that someone does, I always go and I look sort of behind the study a little bit, because like one that he talked about was a study that claimed to be independent and showed that drinking sports drinks like Gatorade was the best way to prevent cramps while running. That sponsor was Gatorade.
Of course.
Gatorade sponsored that. Evian's parent company started like a hydration for health group that, you know, through complicated science basically said dehydration is the worst thing in the world that can happen, but Evian's the best thing you can drink for it. And it wasn't until you go sort of back and you look at this and you go to this website that takes you to that website that takes you to this website that you realise that it's basically Evian's the people saying this. So it's really interesting. He sort of shines a light on all this stuff, and he's done it on a bunch of stuff. He's done it on weddings, he's done it on funerals, he's done it on immigration, he's done it on what's a couple of the other ones? Theme parks, stuff like that. He's just taken things you take for granted and just assume you know, and shines a light on it, and it's really, really interesting. And because it's a comedy, he does it in quite a light-hearted way, like it's not too complicated.
That's like, have you ever watched Joe Lycett? What's the show called? Joe Lycett Fixes the World or something?
Yeah. It's very similar to that.
It's the premise, whether it's the official title.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very similar to what the sort of stuff Joe Lycett does.
That's good. I love that.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know what that music means. I've forgotten because I haven't listened to the podcast in a week.
The music means it's time to talk about our favourite thing, Jarrod.
Least favourite thing.
Oh, line pranks.
It's time. Do you know what? If I had a YouTube about line pranks, do you know how many stars I would give that YouTube channel?
I can only assume 5.
It would be 5.
I think you can only hit the like or dislike button on YouTube. I don't think that's it.
I would comment the stars, Sean. I would start a YouTube reviewing website called YouTube Reviews, and I would give that channel 5 stars, much like this podcast.
Oh, that's what we have to do. That's right, I've forgotten. Because of course this is a 5-star podcast. 5 stars only, no 4.5s.
I did photocopy the sheets for you to have a look at, so if you need to have a look through the official legislation, it is there with you. That's
right. Let me just grab that.
Yeah, I did do it on really thick paper.
Really thick paper. I know. Why you did it on cardboard, I'm not sure. Wait a minute. You must give Good for a Change 5 stars. 5 stars only. That is part of the Geneva Convention Code 4192.
Beautiful. Great.
Yes. So please remember to do that, gang, because we don't want to set the cops on you.
Yeah, I think we've covered that.
Yeah.
And once you've done reviewing, you might want to subscribe to the show or share it with a friend. We'd love that. Or you can join us on Facebook. Our group is called Good for a Change, and we share good news on there pretty much on the daily. So you can get all sorts of good news fixes over on our Facebook group. And if you want to see the visual elements of the show, jump onto our Instagram, which is @GoodForAChangePodcast.
And if you're enjoying this podcast, feel free to share it with your friends. Share it with Share. If you know Share, Share is what I'm saying. Do you believe in life after love?
Oh, Hollie, if I could turn back time. Let's get out of here because this is just getting bad. Thank you very much, Hollie.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jarrod. You're welcome.
Until next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. That's my Cher impression.
Wow, it's bad.